Hi, everyone, and welcome to our program. Our Saskatchewan Agriculture Show this week comes to you from the Frank Sudol farm, which is located in the Paddockwood area. Our topic of discussion, woodlot farming. And just what is woodlot farming? Well, here's Prince Albert Agricultural Representative Barry Swanson.
Well, to me, Roger, and to a lot of farmers, it's another method of diversification on the farm. We can grow wheat, we can grow barley, we can grow canola, we can grow flax, and we can grow trees well in this area. And woodlot farming is encouraging farmers to look at what they've got growing in areas, many cases what they think is waste areas they farm around, looking at the value perhaps of that tree for many, many uses.
What can you produce from a farm woodlot?
Well, other provinces produce Christmas trees, pulpwood, firewood, fence posts, rails. For example, in New Brunswick, they have a $300 million a year industry off private land. In Saskatchewan, we're likely at $1 million a year. We've got a lot of population here. We've got a lot of potential. There are many, many things that we can produce for cash right on our farm in the woodlot today.
Woodlot farming. That's our topic of discussion this week on Saskatchewan Agriculture. We'll be talking to woodlot farmer Frank Sudol and also a member of the Canadian Forestry Service. We'll be back in just a moment. Is a woodlot farmer located in the Paddockwood area. He is also president of the Saskatchewan Christmas Tree Growers Association and a master carver. This house that you see on your screen right now, Frank Sudol built it. We asked him how and when he got started in woodlot farming.
Just one day, somebody drove in with a government truck and said, you got a nice bush here, let's have a look at it, and told me a little bit about maybe you should manage that. I says, oh, yeah? And always suspicious of government people, but these were friendly guys, and they talked me into entering a management plan. They said something about a demonstration woodlot, and we're going to be able to take an inventory of my bush, which I was always interested in, at their expense, and plan to manage it and show me how to do that. And before long, I was into it right up to about here. And so this is great because I can convert this bush into money.
What type of trees are you working with in your woodlot?
Well, what is really outstanding here is the white spruce. The regeneration of the white spruce since we had cattle in it, and sort of releasing it from the poplar, and we have a lot of poplar, of course, but it's being overrun by the spruce, and we're now in the management plan trying to give the spruce a chance, because that is the big money crop now.
Tell me about the type of product you take out of your woodlot and how you market it.
Well, first, I'm thinning my bush, selecting out the best trees and cutting down the ones that aren't any good, and using them as firewood. And I don't market that because I need about 40 cords in the 4 stoves that I have on the farm. I thought it would be very useful since I live right in the middle of my fuel patch, that be the fuel of my heating while I'm still able to do that. The spruce I cut as logs, and I convert that into lumber by taking it to a mill or having a mill come here and use what lumber I need. Lately, or in the last while, I've been selling the logs. That is, I cut them and deliver them to a mill who pays me for the logs, and that's been great. It's really surprised how much they're worth. It's a whole lot more than just to convert it into lumber. I'd just as well buy it from him after I sell him the logs.
Could you give us a price and what your logs sell for?
Well, I've been selling them for $110 a thousand. I deliver the logs, and he cuts the lumber, and then he pays me for what he gets out of it.
It was about 3 years ago that Frank Sudol started his farm woodlot. And it was about 10 years ago that Frank and Lois Laycraft started building this, their dream home. There have been some setbacks, a fall from the roof that broke both of Frank's arms. But today it is taking shape, and it shouldn't be long before the dream home will become a total reality. It's all made out of logs, white spruce logs, harvest from his farm woodlot. It's a unique home, 2,800 square feet, and then there's the upstairs and the basement. The home, as well as other buildings on the farm, are heated by wood, about 40 cords a year from the woodlot. The wood is worth around $1,600. But if you were using fuel to do the same job, Frank figures it would cost $5,000 to $6,000. They call Frank Sudol a master carver. He's carved items for the Canada Summer Games. He teaches wood carving, but he says he is mostly known as a chair and a furniture maker. Frank Sudol is also president of the Saskatchewan Christmas Tree Growers Association, and you might find it a bit unusual that just about all our Christmas trees are imported.
They're almost all imported, except for what people get from who live near the forest fringe. All are imported from the United States, British Columbia, some Ontario, Minnesota, and so on. And it just seemed like, my goodness, we grow fine forest and we can grow trees like as well as anybody else. It just seemed like it was an obvious thing. Hey, this forest management thing. The Canadian Forestry Service talked me into growing a few Christmas trees, and it was out of that the whole idea of the association came out. It wasn't long before we were well organized, and we're planting trees all over the place now and replacing the imports eventually.
More on woodlot farming when Saskatchewan Agriculture returns in just a moment.
Welcome back to our program. Jim Johnston is a renewable and intensive management specialist with the Canadian Forestry Service in Saskatchewan. And what role does the Canadian Forestry Service play in woodlot farming?
Under the present Canada-Saskatchewan Forest Resource Development Agreement, we have a small program to help those landowners who wish to get involved with the management of their private forest. Under that program, we've provided advice, information, and some assistance for them to get involved with the management of their forest.
What has the response been to the program?
We presently, under our small program, have 43 woodlot owners involved in the program. We are unfortunately unable to get a lot of people involved because there are financial restrictions. However, I think about 50% of the people we've got in touch with or got in touch with us have joined the program.
What do you see for a potential for woodlot farming in the province?
It depends on the area and the people's interest. I would think more than likely we could get 2,000 to 3,000 of the woodlot owners in Saskatchewan. We believe there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 15,000 to 20,000 woodlot owners. But we should be able to get about 3,000 to 4,000 of those into the program.
The people involved in the program now, what type of woodlot farming are they doing?
It varies from woodlot to woodlot based on what the owner wants to do with his woodlot, what type of bush he has, and what possible markets he has. You have to develop those things into his management activities so he'll get a realistic picture of what he's going to be able to do with his woodlot.
Is there financial assistance available through this program?
We have financial assistance available for the preparation of a management plan, which would discuss what's there, what's needed to be done, what the owner's objectives are, and how best to reach them. There is also some financial assistance available for doing improvement work, such as thinning out trees or releasing spruce from poplar, things like that.
And how do you go about managing a farm woodlot? Once again, here is Frank Sudol.
Well, first of all, a management plan. Somebody really comes down and has a look at it and say, well, these are things that are worth saving, and this is not worth saving in terms of trying to grow the best trees and trying to grow 8 times as much good, useful fiber than if you left it to nature by itself. And I was most impressed with it. And I go out there and I cut down the trees I don't want, that are not good, and then I just leave out the good ones. I trim them out, and I cut everything up into blocks, and then I take it out with a front end loader and I split it up, and that's my wood supply. Usually I don't manage much more than the wood I need, but I'm going to have to do a whole lot more now because I have about 200 acres of forest here. And if I keep going at the slow rate I am, I'll be having to do this for 600 years. So we're going to have to do a little more work on this than that. But we have to sell some of our wood, our firewood, I think, if we can find a market.
From talking to you, I would think that if a farmer has bush on his land,
a farm woodlot would be a good sideline.
Oh, if he has the equipment already, if he has chainsaws and a small tractor and that, I think that it'd be an awfully nice thing and a very useful thing to be doing with that bit of wood. It's an additional income, and it's work, it's exercise for most of them who just sit around and have nothing to do in the wintertime, and increase the value of their land.
Well, if you're a woodlot farmer and you're talented with the chainsaw like Frank Sudol is, you could even make ornaments like this deer here. But seriously, if you have bush on your land, it's something that maybe you should consider, woodlot farming, taking a look at it. And for help, you could contact your local agricultural representative or get in touch with the Canadian Forestry Service. That is our program this week on Saskatchewan Agriculture. Thank you for watching. I'm Roger McLaughlin.
This has been Saskatchewan Agriculture, keeping you up to date with the latest in our largest industry, agriculture. It's important to all of us.